Welcome to the video tutorial for my super simple go-to gloves. I call it that because each time someone asks me to make them a pair of gloves, this is the pattern I use. It's got just the right amount of texture, uses basic crochet stitches, has a nice cozy thumb, and it's got a warm and snug cuff. The stitches we'll be using are those that I think most of you are familiar with, and if you're not, we'll be sure and go over each one of them as we get to them. The materials you'll need are a skein of 4-ounce yarn, a 6.0 and 6.5 millimeter hook, scissors, and an optional stitch marker. If you're ready, let's begin. Okay, to begin our cuff, I'm starting with a 6.0 millimeter hook, and I'm using a red heart yarn in boysenberry. Now this yarn calls for a 6.5 millimeter hook, and that's what we'll be using for the glove, but I always go down a half a size for the cuff. So I'm starting with a 6.0 millimeter hook, and I have a slip knot. So to begin our cuff, we're simply going to chain 13. And when we single crochet back down, that'll give us a stitch count of 12. Now you can obviously make your cuff as wide as you would like, but for purposes of this video, I'm going to chain 13, and that'll give us a stitch count of 12 when we work back down. So go ahead and do your 13 chains, and then I'll pick back up and we'll single crochet back down. Okay, so here's my 13 chains, and what we're going to do is just place a single crochet in each of these chain stitches back down, and that'll give us a stitch count of 12. From here on out, we'll be working with single crochet back loop only. That'll give us that ribbed look for the cuff. But for this very first part, just place a single crochet in each of these chain stitches back down, and you should have a stitch count of 12. So go ahead and do that, and I'll pick you up at the end and show you how we go from there. Okay, so here's my 12 single crochets back down my chain stitches. From here on out, we're going to be working with single crochet back loop only. So let's go ahead and chain one and turn and get started on that. So we have 12 stitches. To achieve that ribbed look, for the first stitch and the last stitch, we'll place a regular single crochet. So let's go ahead and do that. Regular single crochet in this first stitch. Now the 10 stitches in the middle, we're working in the back loop only. So here's our regular stitch here, this V. Here's the front loop, and here's the back loop. To work the single crochet back loop only, all you do is put your hook in that back loop. Draw your yarn up, finish off your single crochet. Single crochet back loop only. So we'll be doing that in the middle 10 stitches, and then, like I said, on the first and last stitch will be a regular single crochet. And by doing it that way, you get that ribbed look that we're going for in the cuff. So put your single crochet back loop only in these middle 10 with your first and last stitches as regular single crochets, and I'll pick you up at the end of this first row of this and show you how we proceed. Okay, so this is how the first row should look with your single crochet on this end and your single crochet back loop only in the middle. So I'll show you, let's go over it one more time. Each time we get to the end, we'll chain one and turn. And then this first stitch is a regular single crochet, followed by 10 single crochet back loop only. And you just put your hook in this back loop of the V. There's a front loop and a back loop. You stick it in the back loop of that V and just continue on with a regular single crochet. So we do this in the stitches 2 through 11. Go ahead and work our way down here. And again, this is what gives it the ribbed look. And by doing a regular single crochet on both ends, I think it just gives it a more polished look on the edges. That's the only reason I do it that way. So regular single crochet on the first stitch, regular single crochet on the last stitch, single crochet back loop only in these middle 10. Okay, this is stitch 11, my last back loop only, back loop only. Now I'm at the end, and we'd put a regular single crochet in the end, like that. So that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to make 30 rows of this. My wrist is about 7.5 inches, and 30 rows is about right for me. So I'll go ahead and do 8 or 10 rows, and then pick back up with you to see how yours looks, and show you how mine's looking. So single crochet first stitch, single crochet last stitch, single crochet back loop only in these middle 10. And I'll catch up with you in just a bit. Okay, I just wanted to do a little check-in, and I've done maybe 16 or 17 rows. Wanted to show you how it's looking. You can really see the ribbing. This is just a great way to do a cuff. It's super stretchy and it holds its shape. So again, I'm going to continue on and do 30 rows. So keep going with your single crochet on both ends and your single crochet back loop only in the 10 stitches in the middle. I'll pick you up when I'm nearing the end of my 30th row, and we'll talk about how we're going to join the edges. So I'll see you then. Okay, so here's my 30 rows of cuff, and I'm on my last stitch, which of course is a regular single crochet through both of those. So there's my 30 rows. Now there's really no front or back. I think they're both pretty much the same. There may be one that you like more than the other. Whichever your right side is, bring your right sides together. And then what we're going to do is slip stitch from one side to the other all the way down to connect these two short sides for our cuff. So how I do that, let's see if I can show you. I'll put it through the first stitch on this side. I put it through the first stitch on that side. I grab my yarn, pull it through, and slip stitch. And I'll do that all the way down. So I'll have 12 stitches. Put it in the second stitch there, the second stitch there, pull it through, and slip stitch. So you'll do that all the way down in each of your 12 stitches. Give it a nice tight seam. And then once you're on, you've done all 12 down to the end, we'll turn it right side out and we'll get started on our glove. I'll see you for that. Okay, so here's my cuff. I slip stitched the edges together and I turned it the right side out, and I went ahead and chained one. And I've also switched to a 6.5 millimeter hook for the remainder of the glove. So what we want to do for this row 1, which is just going to be kind of a base on which to build our glove, we're going to place a single crochet evenly around the top part of our cuff. And the number of single crochets that you have should be the same as the number of rows in your cuff. So I had 30 rows in my cuff, so I'm going to do 30 single crochets around. So try to just space them as equally as you can. Doesn't have to be exact, but just space your single crochets around the top of the cuff. Again, as many stitches as you had rows. So I'm going to do 30. When you get back to the end, we're going to slip stitch to join in this first stitch here, and I'll pick you up there and we'll continue on. Okay, I'm at the end of row 1. I've been putting a single crochet evenly around the top, and I'm doing 30 stitches because I had 30 rows in my cuff. And I'm on my last stitch here, which is 30. And at the end of each row, we're going to slip stitch to join in our first stitch, like that. And we can go ahead and chain one. So that's the end of row 1, which again is just a little single crochet base that we're going to build our glove off of. So let's go ahead and go right into row 2. Okay, for row 2, we've already chained 1. This is a super simple way to start. We're simply going to place a half double crochet stitch in each of our stitches around, which for me is 30. So each stitch around, we place a regular half double crochet, and make sure you place that first stitch in the same stitch that you slip stitched to join and had your chain 1 to keep your stitch count right. So super simple way to start. We're just going to put a half double crochet in each stitch around. When we get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join in this first stitch again, and I'll pick you up for row 3. Okay, so finished row 2, which was a half double crochet in each stitch around. I slip stitch to join and I've chained 1. For row 3, we're going to be using the half double crochet third loop. And for those of y'all who don't know how to do that, it's a regular half double crochet, but instead of going through the regular stitch like that, if you pull it towards you, there's this third loop back there. It's kind of a diagonal. We're going to be working through that loop. Again, here's the regular stitch here, front and back loop. If you pull it towards you just a little bit, there's that third loop. Insert your hook in there and work your regular half double crochet. There it is. Once you see it, it'll be easy. Sometimes just the first few times is hard to find. But once you see it back there, pull it towards you. It almost pops up. It's just a diagonal piece of yarn that's the third loop. So place a half double crochet third loop in each stitch around. The reason we use it is because it gives this nice raised texture here, which I just love. So half double crochet third loop all the way around. When you get back to the beginning, we're going to slip stitch to join in our first stitch, chain 1, and I'll join you for row 4. Okay, I've already chained 1 and we're on row 4. We're going to repeat the exact same thing as we did on row 3, which is the half double crochet third loop. So hopefully after you did a whole row of them, you know how to find them now. And like I said, once you find them, it's super easy. Just slip your hook right in that third loop back there and work your half double crochet. And it's truly my favorite stitch because it gives you just that right about a texture. So go ahead for row 4 and do the same thing. Half double crochet third loop all the way around. We'll slip stitch to join in our first stitch here, chain 1, and I'll see you for row 5. See you then. All right, we're on row 5. I've already chained 1, and we just finished 2 rows of our half double crochet third loop, and you can see how it gives you that nice raised texture, and we'll be doing that throughout the glove to give it a nice touch of texture. So row 5, super simple, half double crochet each stitch around, if I can get it. Just one regular half double crochet in each of our stitches around. So our row sequence in this glove is basically 3 rows of regular half double crochet followed by 2 rows of half double crochet third loop, so that as we go up we have these nice raised areas to make it a little bit more special. So row 5, very simple, half double crochet each stitch around. When you finish, we'll slip stitch to join in our first stitch like we've been doing. Slip stitch to join, chain 1, and I'll join you for rows 6 and 7, and we'll scoot through those pretty quickly. So I'll see you for that. Okay, we're on row 6. I've already chained 1. And rows 6 and 7 are just like 5. Half double crochet in each stitch around. So I'm going to not pick back up with you until the end of row 7 because, like I said, 6 and 7 are simply one half double crochet in each stitch around. When you get to the end, you slip stitch to join in that first stitch. For row 6, chain 1, do it again for row 7, half double crochet each stitch around. Super simple. So go ahead and do that. Row 6, half double crochet, slip stitch to join, chain 1. Row 7, same thing, half double crochet each stitch around. I'll pick you up at the end of row 7, then we'll knock out rows 8 and 9 and we'll start on our thumb increases. So I'll see you at the end of row 7. Okay, I'm coming to the end of row 7. We've done 2 rows, rows 6 and 7, of half double crochets in each stitch. So I'm coming to the end of row 7. So this is 29 and 30. And as we've been doing, we'll slip stitch to join in this first stitch. Just like that. Chain 1. All right, so here's our first 7 rows. Now we're going to come back and knock out rows 8 and 9 because they're going to be the 2 rows of half double crochet third loop again. Then we'll start our thumb increases. So I'll see you for rows 8 and 9. Okay, so we're on rows 8 and 9, and we're going to do those pretty quickly because we're going to repeat these half double crochet third loop rows. So once again, I've already chained 1, and in each stitch, we're just going to be getting that third loop back there and working a half double crochet. So we're going to do this for row 8, all the way around, half double crochet third loop. Come back to the end, slip stitch to join in this first stitch, chain 1, and for row 9, do it again, half double crochet third loop. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll pick you up at the end of row 9, and then rows 10 through 15, we're going to be working on our thumb increases, so that'll be a little bit different. So work your 2 rows of half double crochet third loop for 8 and 9. I'll pick you up at the end of row 9, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 9 where we've, it's our second row of putting half double crochet third loop. I've got 2 more. This is 29 and 30. And as we've been doing, we're going to slip stitch to join in this first stitch. I can get it in there. Go ahead and chain 1. All right, so rows 1 through 9 are here. We're continuing our pattern of 2 rows of half double crochet third loop followed by 3 rows of regular half double crochet. All right, when we start into rows 10 through 15, we're going to be doing the thumb increases, like I said. And this will actually have a thumb, like a crocheted thumb area instead of just a split. So we'll be doing some very basic increases for the next several rows. We're going to keep our pattern of the half double crochet and half double crochet third loop, just with a couple of increases. So I'll pick you up for 10 and we'll start that. Okay, so we're starting on row 10. I've already done a chain 1. And we're going to continue with our 3 rows of regular half double crochets, but we're going to start our increases. The only thing different on row 10 is that we're going to place 2 half double crochets in this very first stitch. So you go right back into that same stitch and place another half double crochet. So we have 2 in this first stitch. The rest of row 10 is simple. We just continue to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch around. So go ahead and do that. 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 regular half double crochet in each the other stitches around. When we get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join, chain 1, and I'll join you for 11 and we'll continue our increases. Okay, so we're on row 11. We're going to continue with our thumb increases, and I've already chained 1. Row 11 is also a regular half double crochet row, like row 10, and we're going to start it just like row 10 with 2 half double crochets in this very first stitch, just like we did before. We're also going to place 2 half double crochets in the second stitch, right back into that same stitch with another half double crochet. So the first and second stitches both have 2 half double crochets. The remainder of row 11 will be like 10. We'll place 1 half double crochet in the remaining stitches around. So we're just doing tiny little increases each row for our thumb space. So 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 2 half double crochets in the second stitch, 1 half double crochet in the remaining stitches around, slip stitch to join in this first stitch here, chain 1, and I'll join you for row 12. We're on row 12, and this also is a regular half double crochet row. I've already chained 1. We'll start like we have been with our increases by putting 2 half double crochets in this very first stitch. 1 and 2. So 2 half double crochets in that very first stitch. Now we'll put 1 half double crochet in the second stitch and the third stitch. When we'll place 2 half double crochets in the fourth stitch. So 1 back in that same spot, 2. So we have 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 in stitches 2 and 3, 2 half double crochets in the fourth stitch. And then, as we've been doing, we'll continue and just place 1 regular half double crochet in the remaining stitches around. So when you get to the end, you know what to do. Slip stitch to join in that first stitch, chain 1, and I'll see you for row 13. We're going to switch back to half double crochet third loop and continue on with our increases. So I'll see you for that. Okay, this is row 13. I've already chained 1, and we're going to start the first of our 2 half double crochet in the third loop rows. So as we've been doing, we're going to place 2 half double crochet third loops in this first stitch. Now sometimes when you try to do a half double crochet third loop in the very first stitch, it's a little hard to find it. Sometimes it's easy. If you just absolutely can't find the third loop on that first stitch, just go ahead and place it in the back loop. It's not going to make that much difference. But if you can find the third loop, go ahead and do that. So 2 half double crochet third loops in the first stitch. Then we'll place 1 half double crochet third loop in stitches 2 through 5. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in stitch 6, we're going to place 2 half double crochet third loops. So 1, right back into that third loop, and place a second one. So again, we have 2 half double crochet third loops in the first stitch. We have 1 half double crochet third loops in stitches 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we have 2 half double crochet third loops in this 6th stitch. And as we've been doing, we'll finish off row 13 with 1 half double crochet third loop in the remaining stitches around, just like that. So do that. When you get to the end, slip stitch to join, chain 1. We'll move on to 14, and we just have 2 more rows of increase. So I'll see you for row 14. Okay, we're almost through with our increases. We're on row 14. I've already done a chain 1. And this will be our second row of half double crochet third loop. And once again, we're going to put 2 half double crochet third loops in our first stitch like we've been doing. Like that. And then on this row, row 14, we're going to put 1 half double crochet third loop in stitches 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2 half double crochet third loops in stitch 8. Go right back into that third loop in your 8th stitch and put 2 half double crochet third loops. So 2 in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet third loop in stitches 2 through 7, and then 2 half double crochets third loops in stitch 8. And as we've been doing, 1 half double crochet third loop in the remaining stitches around. So go ahead and do that. Slip stitch to join in this first stitch, chain 1, and I'll join you for row 15, and that's our last thumb increase row. And after we do 15, we'll join our thumb and continue on with the rest of the glove. We're almost there. See you then. Okay, we're on row 15. We're back to just regular half double crochets, so that'll be easy. And this is the last row of our thumb increase. So 2 regular half double crochets in the very first stitch. Back in that same stitch, place the second one. Then we're going to place 1 half double crochet in stitches 2 through 9. So I'll go ahead and do that with you real quick. So that's 2, stitch 3, stitch, oop, lost my yarn. Let's see, now I've lost my count. This is 1, 2, 3. This is stitch 4, 5, 6, 7, some yarn, 8, 9. Okay, our final increase is 2 regular half double crochets in stitch 10, like that. So we had 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet in stitches 2 through 9, 2 half double crochets in stitch 10. And as we've been doing, I sound like a broken record, the remainder of this row, each stitch will have a regular half double crochet. So we can go ahead and finish out row 15 with just regular half double crochets in the remaining stitches around. Now when we get to the end, we'll slip stitch to join like we've been doing in that first stitch and chain 1. But before we get to row 16, we're going to join this increase area for our thumb, and that'll be a little bit different. So 2 half double crochets first stitch, 1 half double crochet in stitches 2 through 9, 2 half double crochets in the 10th stitch, 1 half double crochet remaining stitches around, slip stitch to join, and I'll pick you up for our little thumb joining row. See you then. Okay, so we finished row 15, and that's the end of our thumb increases. If you lay your glove down with the seam on the side, going down the side, you can see the definite place where we've done the increase. It goes out. That'll be our thumb. What we're going to have to do, let me get my hook back in, before we go on, we're going to half double crochet these first 12 stitches of our thumb, and then we're going to reattach from the 12th stitch to the first stitch to make our thumb, and then we'll have to reattach our yarn over here. So go ahead, I'll do it with you. Plain old half double crochet in these first 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oop, missed it, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so now we have to go from this 12th stitch and we're going to slip stitch it to join in our first stitch, just like if you're at the end of a row. So turn it, taking our hook from our 12th stitch and slip stitching into our first stitch, just like we were at the end of a row, just like that. What we're going to have to do though, let me find my scissors, is cut our yarn. And we'll just go ahead and pull that. I probably should have done a little more. All right, so we'll deal with this tail later. So that is our thumb opening right here. From here on out, we're going to have to reattach our yarn and we'll build our last couple of rows of our glove off from here. So there is our thumb. And I'll join you for row 16. We'll finish it off. Okay, so for row 16, we cut our yarn. We have to reattach. So we're going to here's our thumb. We're going to reattach it in the first space past where we joined our thumbs together. So however you like to reattach your yarn, just do that. All right, you know what? I'm going to chain one just so it's more secure. So for row 16, in these remaining stitches outside of our thumb, we're just going to place a half double crochet in each of these stitches. Now it may not be your original stitch count. Might be, but it might be one or two less. I think mine's going to be 29. It might be 30, but that's fine. So go ahead, start placing a half double crochet in each of these stitches. Now when you get back around to this side, we're going to have to join from here to here. So I'll pick you up when we get to the end and show you how we're going to attach these together to start the rest of our glove. So reattach your yarn in the first stitch past your thumb, half double crochet, and I'll pick you up at the end and we'll join. Okay, I'm coming to the end of row 16 where we had to reattach our yarn over there and we're doing a half double crochet. I'm almost back to this thumb part and I've got, looks like 2 more stitches. So regular half double crochet there and there. So now I'm running into my thumb, but I have to reattach. So turn it over and slip stitch to join in this first stitch where we reattached here. See if I can get it in there. Like that. Go ahead and chain 1. So now we've reestablished where the rest of our glove is going to be. We have our thumb, and now we've reestablished where our last few rows are going to be. I hope that wasn't too confusing for you. It's in the written pattern if you need to go back and review it. So anyway, that's the end of row 16. We've got 3 more rows, I think, and we'll be done. So I'll join you for row 17. Okay, row 17, we need an easy row after all that. Row 17 is going to be super simple, half double crochet each stitch around. We don't have to worry about thumbs and reattaching and all that stuff. Just a plain old half double crochet in each stitch around. We'll slip stitch to join at the end. We'll breeze through rows 18 and 19 and we'll finish it off with row 20. So half double crochet each stitch around, slip stitch to join in your first stitch, and I'll pick you up for rows 18 and 19. Okay, so for rows 18 and 19, we've done our rows of half double crochet. Now we're going to do our 2 rows of half double crochet third loop, and that'll be for the last time. So 18 and 19, I've already chained, is a half double crochet third loop. Oops, didn't get it. Half double crochet third loop, excuse me, in each stitch around. So 18, half double crochet third loop all the way around. Get back to the end, you'll slip stitch to join, chain 1, go straight into row 19, same thing. Half double crochet third loop, each stitch around. So do that. I'll pick you up at the end of row 19 just to see how we're looking, and we'll finish it out with row 20. See you then. Okay, I'm nearing the end of row 19 where we've done 2 rows, rows 18 and 19 of our half double crochet third loop. So I'm at the end of row 19 and I think I have 2 half double crochet third loops left. Yeah, there's 1 and 2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch to join. And guess what? We are on our last row. We have 1 row left. So let's go ahead and jump into row 20 and we'll finish this thing off. All right, we've made it to the end. Our last row is so simple. We're just going to place a single crochet in each stitch around. How easy can that be? We started with a row of single crochet and we're ending with a row of single crochet. So go ahead, so simple, 1 single crochet in each stitch around. When you get to the end, slip stitch to join, tie off your yarn and cut it, and I'll come back to you then and we'll admire our new glove. Single crochet each stitch around. I'll see you when you're done. Okay, here's our finished glove. It's got just the right amount of texture with our rows of the half double crochet third loop. It's got this nice cozy thumb that's really comfortable and a warm and stretchy snug cuff. I think this is going to be your go-to glove too. Thank you for joining me today for this tutorial. If you liked it, please share it with all your crochet friends. Also, be sure and hit subscribe so you'll always get notified when the next tutorial gets posted. As always, there's many more to come. Until then, happy hooking!